All right, fellow Vikings, welcome back this time. Let's talk about the garden. So, who's getting bored of this whole all right, fellow Viking stuff? I mean, everyone's got their kits, right? Yeah. So this time I want to talk about my garden. All right. Over here we have a whole bunch of what do you call it stuff? Soybeans, and the first bed right there. We have a whole mixture of stuff that we talked about before, including kale and other. Everything's coming up beautifully. Um, I'm not sure quite what's going on with my soybeans. They're yellowing. At least the tops of the leaves, everything are starting to yellow, which is really odd for me. I haven't had that happen before. Typically that means like, oh, you're overwatering it, or hey, I'm lacking in this nutrient and stuff like that. But I mean, it's well fertilized. It's like it has comfrey tea and everything on it. Um, and I mean, we've had pretty regular rain, but it's been like 4 days, 4 days since right around there since our last rain. So that right there, they should be dried out pretty decently and ready for more water. And I don't know, like it's just acting weird. Then if we come over here, right there, that's where my corn is. All of my corn came up, and right down the center of them, my soybeans came up. What's weird though, those soybeans over there don't have the same problem as the soybeans over here. And I'm like, they're like 10 feet apart from each other. Actually, the closest plants to each other are about 3 feet apart from each other, right? There's no real difference in it. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like, well, maybe the straw bale method isn't the best for soybeans, maybe, but the soybeans that I put over here in those bales are doing fine. I don't know, like I haven't had this experience when literally like it's three different conditions but very similar within a few feet of each other with the same plants from the same seed, right? And have some do drastically better than the others. I'm it's like, you know, yeah. But on a further note, let's turn the camera this way just a little bit further. Right over here, right, I have my what do you call those things? They're purple, they're long, they're delicious. I forget what they're called right now. Why do I always forget this word? Eggplant. That's what they're called. We have our eggplant, and it looks like this year those eggplant are the sacrificial plant because everything is eating them. Which really sucks because I really wanted eggplant this year. I'm gonna go ahead and tonight I have a bottle of a insecticide. In other words, it's called tiny drop of dish soap inside of a sprayer of water. That's what it is, right? I'm gonna spray the bottom sides of the leaves. Hopefully they'll be okay. Hopefully where the leaves are, they'll start to sprout more branches and all that, and it'll just take off from there. But right now there's almost no leaf left. Like, they look bad. I still have like 10 stevia clones right here that I need to plant out, which means I need to make an area for it, which means I need to go shovel more poop. Yay. Our Bok Choy, our yellow heart Bok Choy, because of the heat, because how hot it is this summer or this spring, right? We're already in late summer's temperatures. So all of our leafy plants, we barely even got to harvest at all. They're already starting to bolt, and the ones from last winter are dried up and ready to go for seeds, which I'm not even going to plant in ground whatsoever come until like probably mid-fall. That way, like, the temperatures really start to drop down, and I'm gonna grab my window panes, which are, let's step this way, right there. Okay, so those window panes are going to go, and the same way I did it a couple of years ago, and I put a video on it. I'm just going to drop some hay bales down, put some glass on top of it, and plant underneath the glass. So in doing that, they should have adequate heat and moisture from the ground moisture, because over on this side of the property, it is completely sopping wet about 3/4 of the year. Right to the point where I dug the pond that's right over there, right in that spot right over there. Okay, so that pond was 5 foot deep, and it took me about 3 days to dig out. And that's working all day, every day for 3 days until I hit water, and that was during the drought a couple years ago. But yeah, so we were in a drought. That pond never dries up. Unfortunately, our groundwater right over here is not drinkable. Our neighbors in the house, that is, you can't really see, it's on the other side of these trees. No one lives there anymore. No one's lived there for quite a while. That house, they had a shallow well like this one. Theirs was down 20 foot, and it was, they drank it, they got sick. So I was told, don't drink the groundwater. And sorry about that. What do you call it? Phone overheated. Yeah, it's a thing. It happens, you know. It's life. It's hot out here, like really hot. Like we're already in the 90s. So that's kind of a big deal for my plants. You know, some of my plants really like it. Like the corn. Normally I would not have been able to put corn in this early. It would have had to have waited until this next week or so before I could plant corn. But I was able to plant it real early, so hopefully I'll get a good large crop, you know, because corn likes the heat. My bok choy, my lettuce and all that, it's not doing well. My kale isn't doing well. Luckily I bought multiple packets of it, and it's a perennial kale, so if it suffers right now, it'll probably do fantastic next year, and I'll probably plant some more seeds out this fall over here. Because I mean, you might not like kale, but it's a staple. Right? It grows in areas where normally you can't grow leafy greens or anything like that. It's might be a little bit rough for a salad, but you can still eat it in a salad. You could toss it in a stir fry. You could chop it up and use it like cabbage. I've done it. You could pickle it like sauerkraut. I've done it. You name it. You could anything you could do with a spinach. You could do with kale. Anything you could do with cabbage. You could do with kale. It's used very similarly. Actually, even the plantain that's out here, the broadleaf plantain that's edible and all that, it went way stringy extremely early this year because of the heat. We missed out on the morel season because of the heat. It was too wet at one portion and too hot on the very next. So that was kind of a big deal. And then we also have the frost on top of it. So morel season, we only got like, I'd say about 10 or 15 mushrooms right around there. And normally we'd have like a good couple dozen. Last year we had so many that I didn't care that some of them were left in a bag too long to actually use. You know, they weren't frozen. They weren't, yeah. I mean, we ate so many mushrooms last year during morel season that we all got sick of them. You know, don't get me wrong, morels are delicious, right? There's some. If you've never had a morel mushroom, you don't know what you're missing. Like they are delicious. Like you don't even need to do anything with them other than fry them real quick, salt and pepper, done, good to go. But I've made cream of mushroom soup with them this year. Along with those, the morels and then our oyster mushrooms. I only got one harvest of our oyster mushrooms, which is really weird. I got a bug on me. It happens when you live in the country. But we normally get a few different harvests of those oyster mushrooms, and they're not the best flavor. They're really not. But you combine that with the morel, and you blend them up and everything and cook them up with some onions and some stock and all that, you make a really good cream mushroom soup. Like it is excellent. We actually have, I'd say, about a half gallon of it left. There's only so much you can use cream of mushroom soup for if you don't like just plain cream of mushroom soup. Yeah, but I mean, it's food, right? Like, but this year, because of the temperatures and everything, so far it's negatively affected us with certain crops, but it's really benefited us with other crops. So realizing early on that this was going to be a really hot spring, I made sure to go crazy with corn, peppers, the okra and all that stuff that really likes the heat. That way we're guaranteed to have some kind of food crop that will last us throughout this year. Now I know this is a small garden. It's enough for basically me, and that's about it. Like it's not enough for the entirety year for even for me. I mean that'd be enough corn. Right? Don't get me wrong, that'd be enough corn for me for a year with all the products that you use corn for. I don't have anywhere near enough tomatoes. I mean that's going to be salads and stuff like that. We're going crazy with cucumber. But because of how hot it is here and the varieties of cucumber that I prefer are cold weather or colder weather cucumbers, they're not doing too well. So hopefully we'll get a few by this fall, and this fall I'll plant out some more. Because I really like cucumber, and the cucumber I use is a storing cucumber, so I can put it in the fridge and it'll last like months. Or I can put it inside of the cellar over here, and as long as it's not too humid, like if I pack it inside some rice, then or pack it in some salts, one or the other, you know, so the salt will drip it down. All that, and just make sure it's above the bottom, or there's a drip tray underneath or something. Then the moisture will be pulled away from it, and they'll still be good to go. Though at that point, by like after a couple months, it's basically a pickle. Like I mean, a really salty pickle, and it's not worth eating. So I suggest if you're going to do that with like the gaggins, I would use rice. Like just grab a tub of rice, stick them in the rice, and they'll be good for a couple months inside of a root cellar during the winter. If your root cellar gets above like I'd say about 40, above 50 or so in the winter time, then probably not. Like it'll probably only last a good month or so with the gaggins, but that's better than most cucumbers, which won't even last a month at 50 degrees. But refrigerator temperatures, which our root cellar does get down into the sub 40 temperatures and above freezing, right? Those temperatures mean that our gaggins will last a good few months, you know, and as long as they're kept dry. Same thing with all of our what do you call them? All of our squash and zucchini and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of zucchini, right, we're about to pull off our first one. It's already this big and about that big around, and I'm probably gonna fry that up because it sounds good. Let's see. I think I went over the big stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and do probably another video because I know there's rain coming tomorrow and the day after, so I'll probably pump out another video today for Wednesday. And if you're going to watch on Wednesday, hopefully I don't mix it up this time because that's kind of how my crazy brain works, you know. Hopefully I don't mix it up, but coming Wednesday should be a goat update on, you know, crazy goats doing crazy goat stuff that we absolutely love and adore because they are beautiful animals. But mainly one goat in particular. But that's it for this time, guys, and I'll see you next time. I hope you guys have a wonderful week.